My good brother and I are both 24K pure straight men of steel, but he rubbed my back at my house, and we somehow slipped into the beautiful novel written by my sister, and we became rivals. On the first day the system gave us a fight. We fought. The next day, the system made us scold each other. We scolded, but on the third day, the system let us kiss our mouths. We both resisted, but we touched our lips in order to go home. I thought the task was done, but my good brother's eyes changed when he looked at me, and he slowly approached me and took a deep breath against my neck. Brother, you're so fragrant. After kissing the good brother, the system released the task. Next mission, tongue kiss for 30 seconds. For a week. Please complete it as soon as possible. I glanced at Lu Y and silently looked away. After a long time, Lu Y came to a quiet sentence. Your sister is really perverted. I choked as I was drinking water. Lu Y is right. If it weren't for Su Weiwei, a dead girl, they wouldn't have penetrated into this ghost world to suffer. And when I go out, I will definitely burn all her little yellow books. But I never figured it out. I'm the one below. Su Weiwei, this dead girl, has a problem with her vision. I am the captain of a basketball team, with rough skin and thick flesh, tall and big. In terms of strength and posture, I should be above. Thinking about it, I turned my head to look at Lu Y. His skin is very white, so tender that he can pinch out water. His eyelashes are also very long, and he has a pair of peach blossom eyes, which makes him the type who is easy to be bullied. What are you staring at me for? Want to kiss your mouth? Lu Y said calmly. Kiss, too. Hearing this, my eyes unconsciously fell on his thin red lips. He has a good lip shape. We just kissed. It's soft. Looking at Lu Y, who was slowly approaching, I couldn't control it, so I slapped him with my backhand and scolded with a red face. What are you doing? Straight. How can you complete the task without kissing? Lu Y touched his red and swollen face and said aggrievedly, Hiss. Forgot about the task. Tongue kiss for 30 seconds is difficult for me. You make me think again, I said with a heavy face. Don't rush. Think slowly. There's still a week anyway. Lu Y opened the canned ice cola with one hand and took a sip. His eyes fell on the distance, and he said casually, hearing his calm tone. I frowned slightly and asked, Lu Y, why don't you look indifferent? Don't you want to return to the real world? I don't care. It's the same if I go back or not. Lu Y shrugged his shoulders and said, it seems to be too. Lu Y is a wealthy son in the real world now, and I'm different. My gambling father, my runaway mother, and my broken me, as miserable as it gets. 3. Su Weiwei, this dead girl, is really my good sister. However, now this novel world is similar to the real world. My names and Lu Y's names have not changed, and even our college majors have not changed, and even our beds are the same as reality. The only difference is, in the novel, we don't like each other, and we are bitter rivals who fight as soon as we meet. I used to read a novel written by my sister, and we didn't like each other at first, but in the end we would have feelings for each other, and then all kinds of sauces would be brewed. I was so red-faced that I tore up what she had written, and deducted her pocket money. She said I would be punished. Sure enough, I was retributed. It was the weekend. I played ball with Lu Y. I saw him sweating and took him back to my house to take a bath. At that time my back was a little itchy, so I asked him to rub my back. Who knows? Lu Y rubbed my back a few times, and we inexplicably penetrated into this world of novels. We still have a task to accomplish. Reach 100 points to return to the real world. 4. On the first day, the system let us fight in the square according to the original plot. Lu Y is my good brother. How can I be willing to beat him? Completion of the mission will reward you with 50 points. Hearing the prompt sound of the system, I didn't hesitate to punch Lu Y's handsome face. Half of Lu Y's face was directly swollen. He looked at me in disbelief, and a little grievance appeared in his eyes. There were a lot of people around, and there was a lot of commotion. Seeing that he didn't fight back, I hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed him by the collar and reminded him in a low voice. Hit me quickly. We have to fight each other to get points. Otherwise your punch will be in vain. Lu Y's dark eyes sank slightly, and he whispered, I can't bear it. I was stunned for a moment. Sure enough, it's my good brother. I was so moved that I cried. Finally, under my coercion and temptation, he gently hit me. The person was injured, but I was the last person to give him the medicine. He was not happy, and I had to buy a lollipop to coax him. On the second day, the system asked us to scold each other, and the bigger the noise, the higher the points. It's easy. On the same day, when class ended, I picked up the book and threw it in front of Lu Y. My eyes were red because I was too engaged, and I pointed at him and scolded angrily. Lu Y, If you have the ability, let's fight. What's the matter with your tricks? They even let people take away the funds of our basketball club. As soon as these words came out, the classroom instantly fell silent, and even the students passing by came in to watch the excitement. Lu Y actually made a trick. I think Su Heng framed Lu Y. Right. Su Heng, a poor boy, can't do anything. He beat Lu Y yesterday for no reason. Lu Y has also fallen into blood mold for 8 lifetimes, and he has met such a difficult person. Don't worry, the Lu family is not something that Su Heng can provoke. Lu Y crushes him as easily as an ant. Wait, Lu Y will definitely teach Su Heng a lesson. Listening to the discussions of the people around me, I am very satisfied, because now they are all developing according to the plot of the novel. But who knew that in the next second? Lu Y walked up to me, stretched out his hand to wipe my tears, stared at me with his head down, and said with distress in his eyes, "Don't cry. Isn't it just a fun? I'll make it up to you as much as you want." Everyone present was stunned for a moment. I was dumbfounded. 2. What is Lu Y doing with this stupid fork? What brotherhood is playing now? I desperately gestured with my eyes to make him scold me. And who knew that he took out a handful of bills from his wallet and stuffed them into my hand as if he couldn't see them. That's enough. Right. His eyes were pure and clean. I got angry and smashed the bill in his face. What are you pretending to be? It's obviously your fault. But now it's installed. I'm telling you, you don't want to. You green tea man. I was furious and pointed at him and scolded. Hearing this, Lu Y's eyes condensed slightly, and his face was heavy. I thought he couldn't hold back and was about to scold back. But who knew that he had a complicated expression and said, "How do you know?" I thought I was well hidden. He was too aggressive, and in the end the system only gave us 10 points. On the 3rd day, the system released the task again. Let's kiss it. I can't do that. I haven't kissed a woman's mouth, let alone a man's mouth. I firmly say no. However, if this task is not completed, the system will not publish the next task. I struggled for a day, and by the evening, I compromised. While the other 2 roommates were sleeping, I carefully climbed onto Lu Y's bed with my waist bent, and climbed to Lu Y's side with great difficulty with both hands on the bed. But I just wanted to wake him up. But he grabbed him and buried his head in my neck. My body lost support, and the whole person pressed on Lu Y's body. Lu Y's body was very hot, and there was a clear woody fragrance on his body, and the fragrance became even stronger when he got closer. I felt dizzy and a little overwhelmed. After a moment's pause, I slapped him and woke him up. "Su Heng, what's wrong?" His voice was very lazy and hoarse, as if he had just woken up. I covered his mouth and motioned for him not to speak, so as not to wake up the other 2 roommates. I typed a sentence on my phone. Let's move on to the 3rd mission. I've figured it out. It's just a mouth-to-mouth kiss. It's nothing. Just be bitten by a dog. Lu Y's hand was still on my waist, and he squinted at me with peach blossom eyes through the faint light of his mobile phone, and whispered, "Can you?" I nodded. They are all good brothers, and it's nothing to kiss a mouth. In the next second, Lu Y raised his hand and grabbed the back of my head and pressed it down, and my lips instantly pressed against his lips. The soft, warm touch on my mouth made my head explode instantly. I jerked to my feet. The movement was so great that the bed shook violently. I haven't said to start yet. I wiped my mouth and said angrily, as soon as these words came out. The 2 roommates opposite woke up instantly. "You 2 are still fighting this big night." Huh, they are all brothers. What hatred and resentment can't be over. Go to bed early. It's 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'm sorry, we'll go to sleep right away, I hurriedly said. With that, I went back to my bed, but I didn't fall asleep all night. In Lu Y's eyes, a kiss may just be a task, but for me it is the first kiss. I originally wanted to take him to the bathroom to kiss him, thinking that it would be over with a touch of his mouth. But who knew that his mouth was so fast? And he kissed me when he pressed me, and it touched my teeth. This task is completed. Add 20 points. A total of 80 points. Please come on. I feel a lot better when I hear this. There are still 20 points left to reach 100 points. Complete the last mission and you'll definitely be able to go home. For the next week, we kept going to class in an orderly manner. It's just that the 2 of us enemies don't seem to get along right. In gym class, I accidentally fell while exercising and scraped my arm. Lu Y, who was more than 10 meters away from me, immediately rushed over, and the usually soft and weak man effortlessly hugged me and went straight to the infirmary. I'm blindsided. Others were also blinded. Didn't they deal with it? Someone muttered. That's what I heard. I immediately got off Lu Y and ran back to the dormitory. And so after that, I was thirsty, and Lu Wai gave me water. I was hungry, and he bought me food. I was hot, and he fanned me. 7. That night, the two of us were left in the dormitory, and he ran to my bed. And when he saw that I was playing games, he also took out his mobile phone to play with me. But as I fought, I leaned into his arms. This position is very comfortable. I never get distracted when I play games, but I always feel that the back of my neck is hot and humid. And I look over and find that Lu Wai is leaning over the back of my neck and smelling me. What are you doing? I always thought that Lu Wai was straight, so I didn't doubt it. I just touched the back of my neck and asked casually, Su Hang, you seem to have a fragrance on your body. The corners of his lips curled slightly, and he smiled. Hearing this, I frowned slightly. How did you kid get gay and gay lately? What does it smell like for me to be a big man? It's the smell of shower gel. I cannot gay, don't you know? I just love the smell of your shower gel. Give it to me tomorrow. Lu Wai's expression was calm, and he said with a smile, yes, but I will share with you what you and me, and I can use my things if you want. I'm very generous. As soon as the words ended, our roommate returned. Seeing this, Lu Wai got off my bed directly, looked at his roommate with a shocked face, and said calmly, we didn't do anything. Roommate, me, it's okay not to say it, but it's a big misunderstanding when you say it. You, together. One of the roommates hesitated. As soon as these words came out, the system directly deducted 20 points from us. 8. The matter here has not been resolved, and I am in big trouble again. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I went out of school to buy steamed buns. And by the way, I bought the pastries that Lu Wai likes to eat. I don't care, but Lu Wai is picky. I don't like to eat things in school, but I just love this pastry at the school gate. But as soon as I came out of the pastry shop, I was tied to the van after taking a bite of the bun. I didn't have to think about it to know that it must have been my gambling dad. They tied me up to an abandoned factory, and according to the original novel, they wanted to beat me, and then snatched my mobile phone and asked Lu Wai to come and pay the money. But I had a brain, and I handed in my mobile phone directly. Big brothers, my friend has money. I'll call him to come and pay you back. A phone call passed. Lu Wai rushed over, and when he saw me tied to a chair, his eyes suddenly turned cold. Where's the money? Hand it over. One of them is humane. Lu Wai didn't speak, and put him down with a cold punch, and several other people rushed up when they saw this, but they were all put down by him. After Lu Wai finished fighting, he directly threw a bank card on the man in charge, stepped on his head and said coldly, this is the money his father owes. If you dare to trouble him again, I'll blow your brains out. Me, not a brother. Who are you? Is this still my soft, weak, bookish brother? This meeting was so shocking that I still didn't come back to my senses until Lu Wai took me to his house. Have a drink. As soon as I entered the door, Lu Wai took out the red wine and poured me a glass. 9. I thought I was going to suppress my shock, so I took a sip and drank it all. I drank so badly that one sip made my face red. However, this red wine tastes good, and I wanted to drink it after drinking a glass. But when I raised my eyes, I met Lu Wai's burning gaze. His dark eyes were like the waters of an ancient lake, cold and heavy. What? I don't understand my anger when I beat them, and I still want to beat my brother. I hooked the corners of my lips and said happily. As soon as the words fell, Lu Wai came over, grabbed my lips and pried open his teeth and gnawed up. He kissed quickly and urgently. I was a little out of breath, and under the influence of alcohol, my head was a little dizzy. Don't tell me about this task. I struggled, but I couldn't break free. The soft tip of my tongue was entangled together, and the base of my tongue was numb. Lu Wai, this madman. After 2 minutes of kissing, I couldn't breathe, and I felt something was wrong with my body, and I was hot. So I quickly kicked him away. What's wrong with you? Pro 30's on the line. Kissed my mouth swollen. I touched my mouth, crossed my legs and blushed. I'm sick. Huh. I like you. The 4th mission is completed, and the points are increased by 40. When the number of points reaches 100, the mission is completed. Teleportation begins. The host can choose to agree, or refuse dash. I didn't hesitate to agree. A white light flickered. I snapped my eyes open and found myself sitting on the couch while my parents and Su Weiwei were sitting next to me chatting. As soon as I saw Su Weiwei, I immediately became excited, grabbed her ears and said angrily, you dead girl. Do you know that you have miserably killed me and Lu Wai? Su Weiwei was so anxious that she shouted, hey brother, what are you crazy about? And who is Lu Wai? Lu Wai, don't you know each other? You wrote me and him in a book. Don't you know? I frowned and said, not long ago, he came to rub my back. Even my parents know him. Don't you know him? When my mother heard this, she was puzzled. Xiaohang, who is Lu Huai? We don't know each other. I was stunned for a moment when I heard this, and hurriedly rushed into the bedroom to find a photo of me and Lu Huai. But Lu Huai on the photo disappeared. After that, I frantically rummaged through Lu Huai's things, but there were none. I even went to his house and said that there was no such person as Lu Huai. I froze. Lu Huai didn't come back. 10. Lu Huai is the eldest young master of the Lu family, and he also has a half-brother. Although his identity is glamorous, he is not doing well. I went to his house once before, and I could feel that his family didn't like him. His stepmother didn't like him, and excluded him everywhere, and his father turned a blind eye to him, and would beat him with a stick whenever he did something wrong. As for his own mother, she just wants to make money from him. When his mom knew that his dad was going to give the company to his brother, his mom went to school and insulted him in front of the whole class, calling him a piece of rubbish. In the real world, he didn't have a good time, but in the world of novels, it's different. At least he has a happy family, and he has endless money to spend, and he has a lot of power. If you want to change me, I will definitely refuse to come back. I lay on the bed. The curtains were drawn. The room was pitch black. I stared at the ceiling in a daze. My heart was indescribably sad. And Lu Huai's sentence "I like you" kept echoing in my mind. If you like me, why don't you want to come back with me? I was bored for a while, and I couldn't help but spit on him in my heart. But after the boredom, I missed him like crazy. I want to go to school with him, go to class together, play ball with him. Without Lu Huai, I would be like the Walking Dead. Su Weiwei also sensed that something was wrong, and asked suspiciously, "Brother, who is that Lu Huai? Let you think of him every day. He's your brother's good brother, but now he's stuck in your book." I leaned back on the couch and said with a wistful expression, "The book I wrote. What is it written?" Su Weiwei looked excited. I thought of the content of the book. My face turned red, and I gritted my teeth and said, "You will read less little yellow books in the future, and you don't know if you are in a hurry when the exam is about to be. I know all day long that watching two men fall in love makes your brain look bad." Su Weiwei's face changed when she heard this. "Brother, did you enter my room?" she shouted, rushed back to her room and looked at her bookshelf, relieved to see that her books had not been destroyed. After a while, he returned to the living room and said with a serious face, "Brother, I take the first exam every time. Watching this will not delay my studies. You can't tell your parents." I glanced at her and said softly, "You'd better stay first, or your brother and I won't be able to control it." With that, I turned around and went back to my room. I wanted to play a game, but I suddenly felt bored while playing. Without Lu Huai, everything is boring. I was vaguely aware. I like Lu Huai. 11. A few days later, I glanced in Sovi's room and saw that she was writing with a lewd smile on her face. I frowned slightly. What a girl. A thief all day long. I walked in with the idea of teaching her a lesson, but when I saw what she wrote, my brows furrowed, and I read it directly. Lu Huai pressed the drunk Su Hang on the sofa and kissed him wildly. After that, he ripped off his pants and slapped him on the ass. Su Weiwei, what are you writing here? I blushed and snatched her notebook to find that she had written an entire book. I looked through it and found that the plot of this little yellow book was exactly the same as the one I tore before. But now Su Weiwei obviously doesn't know Lu Huai. How does he know some of the details in it? How did you come up with this plot? I wondered. Su Weiwei thought I was going to praise her, so she grinned and pointed to her head and said, "Use my brain, which has read countless books. It's all trivial." Tear pull. I tore her book apart. Su Weiwei was dumbfounded, and cried, "Brother, you will be punished for this. It's my brainchild." I saw her reaction and laughed. Coincidence. It's the same as last time. Am I going to be able to wear it back to the world of fiction? 12. Su Weiwei was stunned for a moment when she heard me laugh, and said with a worried face, "Brother, I don't want books. But don't go crazy either. It's okay. I'm happy." I patted her on the shoulder and praised her with a smile. "You did a good job. Brother will go back to the room first." When I got back to my room, I stayed on the bed, waiting to enter the world of fiction. But until dinner, there was no movement, and I couldn't hide the loss in my eyes. It seems to have failed, but as I took a shower, a white light flickered, and I re-entered the world of fiction. When I saw my roommate come back, I immediately rushed forward and asked, "Where is Lu Huai?" "Lu Huai. I just saw him go to the ginkgo forest," the roommate replied. When I heard this, I immediately ran out. I used to go to that ginkgo forest when I chatted privately with Lu Huai before, and when I left, the ginkgo biloba leaves were still yellow, but now they are green. I rushed in and saw him on the bench where we used to sit. "It's night. The street lamp is shining on his face, and his facial features are still three-dimensional and deep, but he keeps his head down, and his whole body is cold. I looked away from the man sitting next to him. The man had very white skin, a very delicate appearance, and a very sweet smile, which was a look that could make people amazing at a glance. I looked at the two of them talking and laughing, and I felt inexplicably unhappy. Lu Huai. This kid also said that he likes me, and now that I've only been away for a long time, he has found a new partner. I wanted to rush over and question him, but when I looked at the two of them talking and laughing, I paused, and a wave of sourness came up. Maybe without me, Lu Huai will be happier. 13. Hello host. Welcome back to the world of the novel. You need to complete the task and reach 100 points to return to the real world. First task. Show Lin Xiao that you are Lu Huai's boyfriend. Quest completion. Bonus points 50. Lin Xiao. Isn't this the third male in Su Weiwei's novel? Su Weiwei set him as a popular star who admires Lu Huai, and he is also Lu Huai's bamboo horse, and the two have a good relationship. Lin Xiao is handsome and fair-skinned, and both men and women can't resist his charm. Lu Huai likes me, then he is gay, and now that such a man likes him, he can't be crazy. Thinking about it, I looked up at Lu Huai not far away, and found that he stood up and looked around, looking very nervous. He also heard the sound of the system. Before I could think about it, I met Lu Huai's gaze. The moment he saw me, his cold dark eyes lit up, and he walked towards me quickly, but he didn't take 2 steps before he was stopped by Lin Xiao. Why? Where are you going? Hearing this, the corners of my mouth twitched, and I walked towards the two of them, and directly pulled Lu Huai back to me. Lin Xiao was obviously stunned for a moment, and then he frowned and said, "Who are you? Don't touch my Huai. Yours. Are you mistaken?" I slapped Lu Huai on the back, hooked his neck and pressed against me, and said coldly, "This is my boyfriend. It's mine." Lin Xiao's face turned pale in the moonlight. He staggered back 2 steps, and his fingertips clenched Lu Huai's cuffs. Huai. You. Lu Huai grabbed my wrist with his backhand at this time and pulled me closer. The crisp woody scent of his body mixed with the smell of night dew hit my face, and I could even feel his fingertips trembling slightly. He lowered his eyes to look at Lin Xiao, and his Adam's apple rolled and said, I said, "Don't touch me." The words pierced the air like an ice pick, and Lin Xi let go of his hand suddenly, and broke a few ginkgo biloba leaves as he turned and ran away. The blades fluttered and landed at my feet, and I noticed that Lu Huai's knuckles were white due to exertion, and he stared at the direction in which Lin Xiao disappeared, and suddenly chuckled. "Su Hang, you are finally here." I looked up at him and saw that the dark tide was darker than the night. The system's chime is still ringing in my ears, but I just want to grab his wrist and ask him why he disappeared in the real world. Why do you say you like me but stay in the novel? But before I could speak, Lu Huai suddenly bent down and hugged me horizontally. His chin rested on my forehead, and his voice was as muffled as water-soaked paper. "I'm afraid you'll think I'm dirty." Huh, I'm in the real world. He carried me deep into the ginkgo forest, the moonlight being shredded and sprinkled on his face, covered in wounds, and even laughing in the mirror. But Lu Huai here, he paused. "I can like you openly." I suddenly remembered that in the world of novels, Lu Huai always liked to use all kinds of excuses to get close to me, lingering on his fingertips for too long when rubbing medicine for me, remembering all my preferences when buying food, and even secretly sniffing the back of my neck when I was playing games. These details, which I had overlooked in the task, gradually became clear like a jigsaw puzzle. "So you deliberately didn't come back." I grabbed him by the collar. "Make me think you don't want me anymore." He paused abruptly, his eyelashes casting shadows under his eyes as he looked down. "You won't like me in reality." Fart. I was so angry that I wanted to beat him, but he hugged him tighter. When I passed by the street lamp, I clearly saw that the tips of his ears were red. What I like is Lu Huai. Does he care if he is in fiction or reality? Lu Huai suddenly laughed, and his chest vibrated and passed into my eardrums. He lowered his head and kissed me on the forehead, and whispered, "Su Hang, you're drunk." Then I remembered that I had drunk and was dizzy at the moment, but I still stubbornly grabbed his wrist. "I'm not drunk. I've come to bring you back." Okay, he deserves simply, but get the job done first. The system prompt sounded at the right time, and I remembered Lin Xiao's matter. Lu Huai put me on the bench, combed my windblown hair with his fingertips, and suddenly chuckled. "Actually, before you came back, I had already rejected him." "Oh," I raised an eyebrow. "How did you refuse?" He suddenly approached, and the tip of his nose almost touched me. I said I have someone I like, who has a bad temper, loves impulsiveness, and always talks about straight men. Lu, why? I pushed him angrily, but he pressed his backhand on the bench. His knees rested between my legs, his fingertips pinching my chin and shaking it slightly. But I just like him. The moonlight leaked through the cracks in the canopy and fell like a broken diamond in his pupils. I suddenly remembered that in the real world, I had seen a dry ginkgo leaf in his textbook. It turned out that since then, we have planted secrets in each other's worlds. Is the mission complete? I asked in a hoarse voice. Lu Wai looked down at me, and his Adam's apple rolled. It's still a little close. His kiss fell with a cautious temptation, like a butterfly for fear of startling it. I grabbed the hair on the back of his neck and kissed him back, tasting the residual smell of red wine on the corner of his lips. It turned out that in the days I was gone, he had been practicing how to love someone over and over again. Mission complete. Points plus 50. Total points 150. When the system prompt sounded, Lu Wai was biting my lower lip and grinding gently. I felt his fingertips tighten on my waist, and suddenly chuckled. Lu Wai, it's time to go home. As the white light flashed, he held me in his arms and used his back to fend off the impact as he had done in the last car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing in my bathroom, still holding a bath towel in my hand, and Lu Wai was standing in front of me soaking wet, with water dripping from the ends of his hair. I froze. What's going on? He raised his hand to wipe the water from his face, and a familiar smile rose at the corner of his mouth. Probably because the system sees us as too pitiful and allows two-way teleportation. I noticed that the bathroom floor was wet. Apparently, he had just walked through the bathroom from the world of fiction. I remembered that he said, I like the smell of shower gel, and I suddenly blushed. It turns out that in the world of fiction, when he uses my shower gel, he thinks about me in reality. So, I looked down at his Adam's apple. What is it now? Lu Wai suddenly reached out to turn off the shower, and the water beads slid down his jawline and dripped on the back of my hand. He grabbed my fingertips and pressed them to his chest, and his voice was hoarse. Count me in as your boyfriend. I looked up at him and saw that the tips of his ears were red and dripping blood. In the warm yellow light of the bathroom, the mist behind him formed a gentle shape, like the ginkgo forest in the world of the novel. Su Heng, he suddenly spoke. Actually, in the real world, when I rubbed your back for the first time, I wanted to kiss you. I jerked my head up to meet his burning gaze. Memories are flooding. That day I was lying on the edge of the bathtub. Lu Wai's hand holding the bath towel suddenly stopped, and when I turned around, I bumped into his face that quickly parted away. It turns out that since then, some things have been quietly changing. So you deliberately rubbed too hard. I raised an eyebrow. The tips of his ears reddened. I want you to remember me. I burst out laughing and tiptoed to kiss the tip of his nose. Fool, I've long remembered. Su Weiwei's knock came from outside the window, and she shouted, Brother, why did you take a shower for so long? Lu Wai quickly turned around to block me and shouted at the door. It's good right away. I watched him scramble to find a bath towel, and suddenly my eyes felt sour. It turns out that some fate has been foreshadowed as early as when rubbing the back, whether it is the fiction world or the real world. We will eventually meet at a certain point and then fall in love. Don't read your sister's little yellow book in the future. Lu Wai wrapped a bath towel for me, and gently pinched my waist with his fingertips. I looked up at him and saw a star shining in his eyes. The bathroom mirror was covered with mist, but two shadows were reflected close together, like two trees that had finally found each other. Their roots tangled in the ground, and the branches and leaves touching in the clouds. Okay, I hooked him around the neck. But you'll have to burn the book with me. He chuckled and kissed me on the lips. Yes, boyfriend. When the sound of running water resounded, I heard Su Weiwei muttering at the door. Strange. How does my brother talk to people? Lu Wai winked at me, his fingertips running through my fingers. The hot water washes over our backs, as if washing away all barriers and misunderstandings. It turns out that love never has a world. As long as the heart is true, no matter how many times you wear the book, you will find each other. System prompt. The host has reached the perfect ending, and the points can be exchanged for anything. I looked up at Lu Wai, who was rubbing his shoulders for me, his eyelashes casting fine shadows under his eyes. Suddenly, the sunlight outside the window pierced through the clouds and shone on the tips of his hair. I think that's what I want most, to hold his hand in the real world. Lu Wai. I'll rub your back in the future. He looked up at me, and there was light in his eyes. The water from the shower falls on our hands, splashing small pieces of water, like stars scattered on the ground. It turns out that some retribution is sugar given by fate, and we finally found our own light in this chaotic crossing.